Oh, well, would you look at that? Our YouTube, our YouTube viewers. Hey, congratulations on realizing the channel exists, folks. We're frankly surprised with the algorithm since the year 2020. That's been fun, right? Anyway, today we'll be talking about the incoming space weather, which we talked about yesterday. So if you didn't hear that, then maybe watch yesterday's stream. But of course, we'll bring it up again because by now, ESA, NASA, and University Reading will all be agreeing with us about the incoming coronal mass ejection impact. Yeah, there's an earthly directed coronal mass ejection, which is going to arrive sometime around midday on October 30th, Thursday, the day before Halloween. It won't be a major impact. It might cause a KP6 or 7 if it has a real strong field, and especially if it's very dense plasma moving at a high speed. But it's not at a high speed. We can easily tell that from the coronagraph. So anyway, I'm eating some potatoes for breakfast. My meager breakfast. Yes. Baked potato. Hey, mashed potato. Sweet potato. Potato sticks. Smoked sausage. Fried chicken. Pepperoni pizza. All right, I gotta stop. But hey, look, we're gonna talk space weather. We might even talk Earth weather. It's way too dry here in Pennsylvania, so water your plants. And if you got bird feeders, put out some water. Okay? Birds get very hungry, so help them out. If you're gonna feed them, they need more water to digest the food you're feeding them anyway. So, yeah, very dry in Pennsylvania. If you're trying to grow stuff here, sorry. You know, it's been really warm and really dry. And the fall foliage is extended like I don't remember ever seeing it before. You know, we've got full fall foliage right now. And points just south of here are probably still like half green. It's amazing. So, yeah, a little bit of space weather on the way. Let me get up to the studio in just a minute here. Meantime, press that share button. Leave us a comment. Tell your friends and foes about the channel, etc. If you're new, don't be a sociopath and press that subscribe button. And if you're viewing right now, press like. We've got 3 viewers and 0 likes. Hey, Kimberly, good night. May your dreams be a delight. Ah, yes. Enjoy another mini vacation. See, folks, Kimberly is a straight up baller. And she's on yet another mini vacation. So, a little bit jealous, not jealous of her living in Australia. That sounds pretty crappy, but yeah. All right. Yeah, I just got to finish these potatoes. I feel like crap. I probably sound like crap. Maybe I even look like crap. I feel like a jewel. I'm a mess. My health is not good. Not good. And there are, let's just say, a series of stressors that I will be having to deal with. And one in particular, I'm considering dealing with very harshly. And doing things like reporting fraud. But let's hope I don't have to do that, right? Anyway, it's frosty out this morning. It's right around freezing temperatures here in Lehigh Valley, PA. Here's a quick look at the grass. And yeah, it's frosty. So there's that. What else do we have? What else do we have? Like I said, going to cover space weather and Earth weather. News stories? Meh. I hesitate to talk about the economy because there are a lot of economic illiterates that are going to argue without knowing what they're talking about. Never argue with an illiterate, folks. Illiterates are not capable of arguing with you. If somebody can't spell words, doesn't know what kind of punctuation goes at the end of a sentence, give them one of these, not one of these. As soon as they lose the argument by like calling you an asshole or something, it's over. Don't debate them substantively once they've lost the argument. Tell them they're an asshole. I mean, look, you don't need to try and negotiate with terrorists. Negotiating with terrorists just encourages future terrorists to do terrorism. So when you see that shit going on, ignore it. You know, online dummies, they want to argue with you all day about stuff they don't even understand. They can waste their own time all they like, but they ain't wasting mine. Yeah, Kimberly goes on vacation weekly now. So congrats to her. And let's talk space weather. Space weather. It's the weather between the Earth and Sun in a very specific place. I mean, really, it's from about 1 million miles of altitude where our spacecraft are located. So if you go 1 million miles up directly toward the sun, you'll be at Lagrangian point 1. So space weather is really the area from there down to the bottom of Earth's ionosphere. So the top of the mesosphere is kind of like the border where you got mostly neutral particles below it, mostly charged particles above it. That's where space is. So, you know, space is from above the mesosphere to about 1 million miles. And you could make the argument that space weather goes all the way to the sun because obviously that's where the solar wind originates. So, but I digress. Now that I got a bunch of starch in my system, I can probably survive in another live stream. Let's see what I can do, but I feel badly. So if I look badly, if you think I look badly, you have no idea how badly I feel. So it's fun, and I caught the flu about a week ago. I beat that in a few days, I think. And then I think I got a secondary infection. So, yeah. As if injuries weren't enough, how about some illnesses to go with your injuries? Now I've got both. That's fun, right? Congratulations to Mike B. Yeah, Mikey B. for sustaining the worst injury he's ever had. Don't worry, folks. It's not that bad. It's not life-threatening. All right, let me get a little more comfy here. It's a little too warm. I'd prefer to keep the hat on because it's right now very much a good representation of reality. All the crises that are going on, all they do is make me stronger and more resilient. So that's what I got to say. All right, so let me sign in here to the Smash News Network Least Busted Name and News because we want to tell you all about what's going on in space. Of course, space weather is going to be more and more important as time goes on, folks, and thanks for leaving a comment. Prakar. Yo, brah. Chillin'. Yeah, thanks for commenting, man. Cheers. All right, so let me bring up my space weather and earth weather consoles. We're going to do some screen sharing with you here. I got to grab my tripod. I'll bring it with me to grab my tripod. It's not technically a tripod, but it's very good. Ever since last Monday, I've had brain fog like you would not believe. And I can't keep track of anything. Like, everything is lost all the time. It sucks. It sucks. So, yeah, maybe I won't use my tripod because I don't know where the hell it is. I guess it's probably downstairs. I don't know. I thought I streamed yesterday up here with the thing, but I can't, like, it's whatever. It's whatever. I'll just hold the phone. Bro, what is the biggest galaxy? It depends on what you're using as the parameters for biggest, right? Are you talking like the largest geographic size, like the biggest diameter? Or are you talking the most mass? The most massive galaxy might be more compact than the biggest one, if that makes sense. So the biggest local galaxy is M31, the Andromeda Galaxy. That's one of the few, the proud, the galaxies that's moving toward the Milky Way galaxy. In fact, it's already actually colliding, but you've got about another, I think, 200 million years until it's going to be... No, maybe it's even more, I forget. But yeah, the M31 is the closest big galaxy. And, you know, the local group of galaxies, the main players there are Milky Way and M31 Andromeda. So there's that. All right, so like I said, it's just going to take a minute for me to load up my console here. I've got to migrate some of my bookmarks to another browser. Oh, man. Not feeling so good, folks. Not feeling so good. So bear with me a minute here, and we'll get some space weather info on the screen. We're going to start out by looking at some current images of the closest star. The GOES 19 SUVI. And thanks for stargazing with the Smash News Network, least busted name of news. Pardon the guerrilla filming style, but I blame the algorithm for this, as we have the capability to produce extremely high-quality streams on OBS. We just don't use it because we get less than 1/10 of the views when we stream in, landscape mode. It's crazy. It's just because most people view on a mobile device, I think. Because Android is by far the most popular. Yeah, so I'm going to actually answer your question here, but I'm going to have to look this one up because while cosmology is one of my pet sciences, I don't really memorize stuff that I don't need to memorize. Bear with me. I'm going to be right back, folks. Be right back. Sorry about that, folks. Just had to take care of some cold and flu issues. All right, so let's see. The biggest galaxy is the giant radio galaxy Alcinoius. It's got a diameter of over 16 million light years, so that's 160 Milky Way galaxies side to side. 160 times the diameter of the Milky Way. That's big. And the previous record holder, up until about 2022 February, was only 6 million light years across. So this one is a lot bigger. Orders of magnitude bigger than the previous biggest galaxy. So there you go. 16.3 million light years wide. The Milky Way is only like 125,000 light years wide. So that's big. And that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the most massive galaxy. The most massive galactic core, that's pretty easy to measure, or at least estimate. The biggest galactic core is, the largest known one is A2261-BCG. The core of the galaxy is 10,000 light years across. And because the galactic core really does matter in terms of how massive a galaxy is. Hold on a minute. There'll be an estimate for the mass in here somewhere. The mass. They're not even sure if it has a black hole at the core. I mean, okay, let's just call it a massive radio source. Anyway, let's move on here because this really has nothing to do with space weather or Earth weather. This is sort of a cosmology topic. So anyway, let's take a look here at the closest star. Here is what's going on from the GOES 19, and we do have a lot of filaments on the Earth side of the disk once again. So that's what we like to see because we want to see Earth-directed space weather. It's good for the channel. It's good for the planet. It's good for Aurora viewers. And we just like it. All right, so let's see if they have that CME from yesterday modeled. Goodness graciousness, and they don't have it modeled. 25, 26, 27. Oh yeah, so that CME that we talked about yesterday, it must be stealthy enough that University of Reading didn't catch it. So there you go, stealth CME detected on the channel. No surprises there. The Prakar, I'm from Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, and thanks for joining us all the way from almost halfway around the world. Sunspot number has come up here since yesterday, now back over 100. Sunspot number is currently 105 sunspots. 105 is the sunspot number. The 10.7 centimeter radio flux is 122 solar flux units. All right, so NOAA is forecasting some space weather from the coronal hole high-speed stream, including a geomagnetic storm, a mild one. But there's NOAA's forecast. You can see here the 28th, expecting... Yeah, so they missed that CME. So NOAA and University of Reading both missed the CME that we covered yesterday on the channel. And NASA probably missed it too, but we're not even going to check because you only need so many things to back up your data, folks. You only need so many backups. All right, so it looks like we may have an early onset coronal hole high-speed stream here. No, this looks like a CME impact, actually. You see the way we're seeing a density and a velocity spike at the same time? So there you go. Density is currently 7.5 protons per cubic centimeter. Solar wind velocity, 452 kilometers a second. We also see a change in the plasma temperature down here. So this looks like a different solar wind regime arriving right here. Because if you look right there, you see the plasma temperature changes at the same time that the solar wind speed changes. So that's like a specific solar wind regime. And just before that, we did see the magnetic field shift too, all the way to 8 nanotesla for the BT and -5 for the BZ. There it is. All right, so again, CME impact coming on the 30th. That's Thursday, and coronal hole high-speed streams about to arrive any time. So some geomagnetic storming is in Earth's future. No solar energetic particle events, not a real high likelihood of them. Solar background X-ray flux is currently only in the B-class range. So no major flares, not even a C-class intensification so far today. Do we have any more CMEs to report? Well, let's see. See if the one from yesterday is still on here. I think it is. Let's see. Nah, I don't know. I think we were earlier yesterday, so yesterday's CME, I don't think it's on here anymore. Oh, there's a really dense plasma cloud coming out there. What is up with that? Oh, that is weird. Look at this real dense piece of plasma here. So around 4:30 this morning, Universal Time. Let's see if I can catch that on the LASCO C2. Oh, that is so weird. Excuse me. All right, so check this out. Look right in here. I'm going to rock this back for you. Check it out. There's like a real dense series of plasma clouds there coming out. See that? See how granular they look? Very weird. But that's what happens, man. The sun, it's full of surprises. No matter how much we learn about it, it still does a lot of stuff that we're pretty bad at predicting as a species. When I say we, I don't just mean space weather people. I mean humans. Anyway, moving on. Once again, here is the GOES 19. And let's take a look at some more in-depth solar data. Now, the SDO main site is down. You can still access it, but I like to use the backup sites occasionally anyway. So that's why we're not showing you SDO images. It's fine. You don't need them. Oh, look at that. We got some major spikes in the Boulder magnetometer. See this? The H component. And if you're wondering what that means, the H component is like, I forget if that's the east-west. I think the H component is the east-west and the D component is the north-south orientation of the field. All right, let's continue on here. Going to look at El Teide, Spain. Now let's look at Cerro Tololo. Cerro Tololo, Chile. Here is our solar magnetogram. And these are pretty inactive sunspots, folks. So if you're hoping for solar flares, that's not the best. Solar flares are not so likely. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, Prakar. Prakar, remember, the most interesting star to gaze at is the closest one. And that's because we don't have it all figured out. Some people would like to tell you, oh, we know how stars totally work. We know what's going on inside of stars. But do we? Have we ever observed it directly? We certainly have not observed directly inside a star because they're full of magnetic fields and we can't see through those magnetic fields. Now, those magnetic fields are suspending these plasma filaments like this one, which blasted off to the northeast, which would be your upper left. As you can see, it's there and now it's gone. Let's look at El Teide here. El Teide probably catches it releasing. Oh, that sucks. It looks like missing data. That's great. Let's try Lermonth. I'll bet Lermonth has it. There it is. Watch this area right here. And there it goes. There's a great image of it. All right, cool. I just wanted to show you that CME happening there from the northeast. Right here. The filament was there, and now it's gone. It looks like it didn't splash down, and you can corroborate that on the LASCO if you like. That filament started to blast off around midnight, around first thing this morning, Universal Time. Next thing we'll show is the line of sight coronal hole plot, because this major coronal hole in the southern hemisphere is of North Pole orientation. There it is, shown in green. That will be the source of high-speed wind for the next day or so. And then, without skipping a beat, we'll have a CME impact. Here's our heliosphere magnetism, the top view ecliptic plane field plot. What's cool about this one, folks, is it also depicts stereo A. That's stereo B over there to Earth's east. And over here you've got stereo A over to Earth's west. So ahead of us in our orbit, but seeing space weather that's already set from our perspective, as it's got quite a few degrees of angle now, which is great because it helps us to calculate the trajectory of incoming coronal mass ejections. The Gauss electron flux here is still at quite high levels. And this is sort of common around the equinoxes, folks. The Russell-McFerrin effect does affect this. And the Russell-McFerrin effect is just basically, when Earth's magnetic field is like perpendicular to the incoming solar wind, which happens around the equinoxes because Earth's equator crosses the sun's equator. So, Earth's magnetic field is fairly closely oriented with the geographic poles, right? And as a result of that, when the solar wind is coming in and it's hitting Earth's magnetic field like this, it excites the electrons in the outer Van Allen belts more than if Earth's magnetic fields are like this at the solstices, because these particles lose a lot more energy when they smash into a perpendicular magnetic field line than when they glide into a much more acute angle magnetic field line. It's easier for them to orbit those, and hence it's less violent. That's what causes the Russell-McFerrin effect. It's literally just the angle of attack of the incoming solar wind versus Earth's magnetosphere. Anyway, that's about it when it comes to space weather. If you're wondering where the GPS errors are most likely, we'll bring up the CTIPE total electron content. I like to show it because I use a lot of GPS myself as a pro cyclist. It is kind of important. So there you go. And yeah, thanks for leaving a comment, all the sun. Yep, I'm doing fine, and I'll be sitting in the sun quite a lot today because I won't be doing anything resembling, quote, work. I won't be doing anything resembling work. You know what people call like a job? I have 5 of those. 5 of them. So, but none of them are 9 to 5s. 0 of them are 9 to 5s. 5 jobs, 0 9 to 5s. Hopefully you're not a 0 at your 9 to 5. Hopefully your 9 to 5 isn't some dead-end piece of crap job that doesn't pay enough. Anyway, these are where your GPS errors are most likely. This is the total electron content forecast, as you can see there from the header. And as you can see from the imagery, your GPS errors are most likely around the equator between about 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. That's how it works. End of story. Moving on. And we're going to close this thing out, but first we're going to talk meteorology. So we're going to briefly talk about Earth weather here. First, we'll take a look at the jet streams. There are the 250 hectopascal winds, and you can see some major jet stream, major meridional jet stream flow here. Usually the jet stream moves west to east, but as you can see here, moving quite rapidly here from south to north and north to south. So hot air coming up here into southern central Canada, and very, very cold air coming into Lake Huron. Look at that. Wow. And also Erie and Ontario getting an infusion of subarctic Canadian air. Here are the surface winds, if you're wondering. And we have a strong low off the coast of the Carolinas, as well as a major hurricane here south of Cuba. Continuing right along, let's show the 72-hour GFS forecast and then close this mother out. 72-hour forecasts are accurate. That's why we show them on the channel. So shout out to all of our U.S. viewers. There you go. There's the pressure and precipitation forecast. And we've got some extreme weather coming to Pennsylvania. We're going to get plastered with rain here, and we need it big time. Like I said earlier, it's very dry. Also, the Pacific Northwest is going to get hammered. It looks like a Pacific Pineapple Express to me, but we're not going to worry about the origin of it too much. We're just going to close this mother out. Hey, thanks for leaving a comment, Strato Tanker 837. Cheers. Yeah, I hope I feel better soon. You know, I'm a terrible patient, and when I get sick, it's very rare, and I'm bad at it. Like, the people that try to help me, they also want to stab me when I'm sick, because I'm bad at being sick. I'm a bad patient. I know too much about, filmed in slim screen. I'm a bad patient. I know too much about the human body, and I get real cranky when I'm sick because it's so rare. I'm not used to it, and frankly, it pisses me off. So I got to end this stream. It's already too long. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Congratulations on Realize the Channel Exists. We'll close out with some imagery of the closest star here, because that should be what you came for. If you came for something else, press subscribe anyway, because we don't only cover space weather on the channel. We cover a heaping helping of whatever the hell we want. We are free speech advocates here at the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. So don't you forget it. And once again, thanks for tuning in. Congratulations on realizing we exist. We'll see you next time here at SNN. And until then, may that solar wind be at your back.